Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 reasons why I think Into the Dark is so good. And let's not mess around, let's get straight into it with reason number 1, and this is the nostalgia aspect. Think Space Hulk and Space Crusade back in the late 80s and 90s. And starting with Space Hulk, this was a board game that was released in 1989, and this was certainly on my radar as a kid. I would have been, 11, 12 around that time. And then Space Crusade, the board game, came out a little later in 1990, but it was the Space Crusade computer game for the Commodore Amiga 500 that really hit home for me, and this came out in 1992. I was 13 and I was right into it. I used to play it so much. It was such an awesome game, and this Into the Dark box set just reminds me so much of it. I loved it. Here's a screenshot from the actual game, and it was so cool. You'd play from this top-down aspect, and you'd move your Space Marines around this like maze that is set up, fighting against all sorts of bad guys from the 40k universe. And it'd be a small team, 5 Space Marines. You'd have the different weapons, and then you'd go up against them. And then when you would actually kind of roll to see if you hit them, it would go to this 3D view, and then you would take them out or miss. So really awesome game. All the maps were different. You can see here in the right hand corner of the map, it would change for each different mission. And so again, that's really tying me into the idea of Into the Dark with so many missions, and they're all the different layouts. I think this is really awesome. Now, something I completely forgot about until I did this video was that you could choose between Blood Angels, Imperial Fist and Ultramarines in the game. I forgot about this entirely. So it's really cool that I'm playing Imperial Fists now for 40k and Kill Team, and I really want to put together 2 others now, a Blood Angels team and an Ultramarines team, so I can have all 3 from Space Hulk game, from Space Crusade game. I think that'd be so cool. So I've got my intercessors that I use in Warhammer 40,000. I can put those together. I've also got the green ones that I've painted, like the Raptor colours that I still use as Imperial Fists. But it's going to be awesome, I think, to put together a little kill team of intercessors for Blood Angels, and then do another one for the Ultramarines. I think that would be great, and then I'd have all 3 options that I had in the actual game. It's really weird, like thinking back and then looking at pictures of the actual game, and it made me think of this saying that at some point in your childhood, you and your friends went outside to play together for the last time, and nobody knew it. I thought, wow, that's so weird, because I would have put that disc in the Commodore Amiga, played it, perhaps not knowing that's the last time I'm going to play it, and then taken it out and never played it again. I mean, that's so weird to think that, but having the Into the Dark now, I can replicate this at least. And I think once I get that new set of terrain, then I could be putting together the little setups like you can see on the map here, so a bit denser with the terrain, tighter corridors, more of them. I think that's going to be a really fun thing to do. So I think this would be really great to get 2 sets of that terrain, Into the Dark, Shadow Vaults, put them together and recreate the actual Space Crusade layouts. That would be an epic project. But let me know what you think about that in the comments section below. Is that something you'd like to see? And do you remember Space Crusade, and did you play it like I did? I'd love to hear what you think. I think I've got enough Space Marines already to put these 2 extra kill teams together. I've got Assault Intercessors from the Imperium magazine and some Primaris Intercessors left over from the box I built to build my Raptor coloured Intercessors. So I could certainly do 2 more with what I've got, which is really great. But I think if you bought these 2 boxes, you're going to get 20 miniatures. You could make all 3 kill teams out of that. So if you wanted to do something similar, you've got the options to do that as well. And you might want to go one, perhaps Blood Angels, more heavy on the Assault Intercessors, so more melee combat. Your Imperial Fist perhaps more with the Primaris Intercessors shooting from a distance, and then go Ultramarine, something in between. I think that's the direction I'm going to go in, so that'd be really fun. And this would be a good point to mention Firestorm Games, and a big thanks to them for sponsoring the channel. And if you're considering doing something like this, then you can pick up all your hobby products, including those Intercessor box sets from Firestorm Games, and save yourself up to 20% when you do so. And I'll put a link in the description down below that will take you to their website, where you can see everything they offer and then make those awesome savings. And here I've pulled out another box set that they do, because you might only want to do 1 kill team, and so I thought this could be quite handy if you're new to the game and you don't have a lot of paints and you don't want to have loads of miniatures but want to start. You could get the Space Marines Assault Intercessors and Paint set. It's discounted to £19 13 pence. That's going to give you 6 pots of paint, a brush, and it's going to give you 3 assault intercessors. And then you could get this second box, the Space Marines Primaris intercessors, and so that's going to give you enough. Well, you could make 2 out of this. You're going to have 13 models then. Only 3 assault ones though, but certainly enough going on with these Primaris intercessors to build another kill team too. So that might be a really good option. The first set we looked at here with the paints, that's going to give you the Ultramarines colours, so you could definitely do a 6-man Ultramarines, and if you like that, maybe get some more paints and then go a different route with your second team. So I think that's a really nice option that isn't going to be too expensive, and certainly if you're starting out, that's a good way to go. Right, now we're on to number 2, and this is most of the terrain has the same traits. This is a big plus for the game, I think. You've got the terrain that's all very similar, and then you've got the rules that are going to apply to most of it. So for example, all the walls are going to have the heavy and wall trait. So this is going to make it a lot easier when you're working out whether there's cover, whether there's obscuring going on, and things like that. So that's a real big bonus to the game. And then you've also got the ancient apparatus, which is going to have the heavy terrain trait and transversable, so you could traverse it, and you've got the heavy. So most of the stuff here is going to have the heavy trait, except for the broken pipes and the barricades. They're going to have the light trait, and then all the ancient apparatus and the different light terrain features are going to have the traversable trait. So really you're only looking at light, traversable and heavy, and so you're not being too mixed up with all the different things. You haven't got vantage point to think about. So yeah, very straightforward. So again, if you're new to the game, this is a really good entry point, I think, because you can start off nice and simple with the terrain and then build up as you work through the game, getting some more terrain added, maybe building your own, and then working on the extra terrain rules as you go. So just layering up those rules, I think, is a really nice thing to do, because that's the thing with Kill Team, and this put me off in the beginning, because you've got the core rules to learn, and then those rules are affected by the conceal and engage orders. Then they're affected by the kill zone you choose, and the terrain you choose, and then the mission. And then you've got all the rules for each kill team in between that can affect everything as well and change it. So there's lots of layers. So I think if you can make those layers as simple as possible to begin with, it's going to make the introduction to the game a lot smoother. And the missions I've played so far have made it really easy to work out cover and obscuring and things. And definitely, if you can get hold of one of those lasers, that's a game changer. It makes it really easy and quick to decide whether or not a model is in cover or whether or not it's obscured. Right, now let's have a look at number 3. And this is lots of people seem interested in playing it. I think this has been a really popular release. And down at the Game Club, once it's set up, a lot of people do like the look of it. They come over, check it out. People want to play on it. And I think it's a really good way of attracting new players to the game. And if players are around my age, mid-40s, then you're going to be remembering Space Hulk, Space Crusade, and it's going to bring that nostalgic aspect back. And then, perhaps that was the first time you started playing 40k on the tabletop too, and so it's going to bring back all those memories and encourage people to get stuck in and play. And you've only got to paint a small number of models, as few as 6, and you're ready to go. So I think that's got a really big appeal. But, once everyone sees how cool the terrain looks, they all get excited, look around and want to jump in. So that's definitely a big selling point and one of the main reasons why I think this game is so popular. Now we're on to reason number 4, and this is that there are lots of missions that all feel very different. So as you play through the Into the Dark book, you'll notice there's loads of missions in there. You've got some simple ones to start off with, like Reinforced Chamber, which I think is a really good one to begin with. We're using this in our Kill Team tournament this month because we've got a lot of people who haven't played before, and I think this mission is really well suited to it. Nice and straightforward. The mission rules and objectives are really easy. And then as you work through, you can see that there's just loads of ways to play, and just like the Space Crusade map, each one is different. This one was really fun, Deadly Hangar, where you can turn the lights on and off, and that affects whether anyone within the hangar will be in cover or not. So you can turn the lights on. If anyone stood out in the middle, you can shoot them with no cover, which is great fun, really funny, and yeah, I really enjoyed playing that one. Maze Breakout, all different, all the outcomes and objectives are different, and you can see there's just so many. And once you even then start building your own and coming up with your own ideas, it's just going to be unlimited, especially when you can combine the Into the Dark terrain with Shadow Vaults. And so although it is the same, and that's a big negative that a lot of people aren't happy with, I think it gives you lots more options, and certainly if you want to play something that's even more condensed and makes you feel like you're in the Space Hulk even more to give an immersive feel to the game, then I think more terrain put together with more corridors and more maze-like features is going to be really fun. But all up, there's 14 missions in there altogether, so there's certainly not messing around, giving you loads to do, and so I really like that aspect of the game. And so far I've played about 7 different ones, really enjoyed them. Played the Reinforced Chamber quite a lot of times, and so yeah, Reinforced Chamber at the top there, done that a lot, and then all the others a couple of times each. So yeah, really getting stuck in and trying out the different games now. Now we're on to reason number 5, and this is opening and closing doors. Now this is going to give an immersive feel to the game that I think makes it so fun to play. And it might I feel like it's just a simple thing. Why is opening a door and then closing it important? But I think it's that interaction with the players and the terrain. You're touching it, you're moving it, it's having an effect on the rules, it's having an effect on the gameplay. That all adds to the immersive aspect of the game. And that's something I really like from Core Space. It's got lots of interaction. You're opening little boxes and having a look inside. You know, the terrain itself is interactive. You can smash through windows and then you remove them. And I think that Into the Dark is bringing that aspect to it, which can often be missing. Certainly in 40k, you've got the terrain, you're using it to your advantage, but you're not interacting with it as much. And so I think the doors really bring this nice immersive feel. It looks great when you look down and you can see the doors open, and then the players and the models can then see each other, and then as you get down behind them, you get their line of sight right through. So very immersive, very fun, and I think it's just a great game to play because of that. This next one here, this picture, this is the mood I want to create when I try and replicate Space Crusade. I want to get lots of tight corridors like this because I think it looks so thematic, so fun. And then, yeah, when you put barricades in there as well, they can really hold their ground, and certainly going to be tough to fight through this kind of maze-like environment and make it even more close quarters than it already is. Right, we couldn't finish this without a bonus, and the bonus for me is that all the terrain from Into the Dark and the new Shadow Vaults is going to cross over into Warhammer 40,000. So this is awesome. With the new board in action rules, we can play 40k on the Space Hulk. The armies are going to be smaller, 500 points combat patrol. It does say no vehicles, no monsters, so that's going to have some limits, but I do hope they change that in some respects so we can at least play the older, smaller dreadnoughts, because they're so iconic in this environment. So to get those in there would be brilliant. I also want to play my wolves from a Space Wolf, the Fenrisian Wolves, and maybe bikes. Are they going to let bikes play in it? We'll have to wait and see. But the good thing is, if you like Kill Team, you like Shadow Vaults and Into the Dark, and you've got them, you're not going to have to get the board in actions terrain set. You're going to have everything you need already. So I think that's a really cool part of the game as well, especially if you play them both regularly in the club or something like that. You're going to have everything you need just from Kill Team. So there we go, there's my 5 reasons why I think Into the Dark is such a good game. But now it's over to you. What's your favourite thing about the game? Let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you think, and so I can't wait to read those comments. But that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you liked the video. If you did like it, please hit that like button, subscribe for more videos like this one, and don't forget to hit the notification bell too to join me here next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'd like to say a huge thank you to my Patreon supporters who make these daily videos possible, and if you're interested in joining the community, it'd be awesome to see you there, and I'll put a link for that in the description down below.